Well, it's the start to a brand new week. Monday is here, and of course, we kickstart the week for you. My name is Benjamin Akako, and I do this always together with...
I am Sweetie Abochi, and this morning it's a fresh start to the week, and we want to serve you a 4-hour packed show, and you don't want to miss a single one of it. We'll start off by serving you the AM news, and after that, we'll sit with our guests to review the newspapers like we always do. Today, we have 3 guests joining us in studio, and after that, we'll serve you AM Sport, then our big stories, and there are 3 big stories that we'll be looking at. Where are we starting from, Ben?
Well, we're starting with the volatility of the markets across the world, but especially in the United States, on the back of some of the actions of Donald John Trump. Yes, there have been demonstrations in the United States. The question is, where do we go from here with the tariff arrangements under Donald Trump? Ghana has its own 10% burden to contemplate. Many other countries have steeper burdens. How do we mitigate the situation? We'll be contemplating that this morning together with our guests on the show. But from there, we go to...
health, because today is World Health Day, a day set aside to celebrate or commemorate the beginning of the World Health Organization. And the theme for this year is Healthy Beginnings, Hopeful Futures. And you want to stay with us because health is very important, and we'll bring you the details on the theme for today. And then we'll take you to Talensi. What's happening there?
Well, the NDC is boiling, or there's trouble brewing as far as the party is concerned. We'll bring you details about why exactly that is happening. We have all of these slated for you this morning. You want to stick and stay, but up next, we're serving you the news.
This is the AM show, sponsored by Waylead Properties, and this is a news bulletin on the show. Let's start now. African ministers responsible for trade are set to hold a crisis deliberation next week following the latest executive order signed by United States President Donald Trump announcing new import tariffs for countries across the world. While Ghana is attracting a base rate of 10%, other African countries such as Lesotho, for instance, could be paying as high as 50% on U.S. import tariffs when Trump's directive goes into effect on April 9th. Now, given the latest development and its likely impact on African countries, Secretary General of African Continental Free Trade Area, Wamkele Mini, has hinted that the Ministers of Trade will meet on the 14th of April to deliberate on this matter and exactly how our continent should respond. There's more in this report.
U.S. President Donald Trump receiving applause at the White House after signing new executive orders imposing new import tariffs for countries across the world. After coming into force on April 9, some African countries such as Lesotho could be paying as high as 50% on U.S. import tariffs. Giving the far-reaching implications, Secretary General of the African Continental Free Trade Area, Wamkele Mene, has hinted that Africa is exploring ways by which it could effectively respond.
The President of the United States has given us a wake-up call. And the wake-up call is that we must accelerate our own economic self-sufficiency. The Ministers of Trade will meet on the 14th of April to deliberate on this matter and exactly how our continent should respond.
In the meantime, the Secretariat of the African Continental Free Trade Area has entered into a memorandum of understanding with the National Bar Association of the U.S. Although this engagement is aimed at deepening cooperation, there are fears that U.S. President Donald Trump's rhetoric of America First could leave Africa benefiting less than it should. But Secretary General Wamkele Mene says that will not be the case.
We will continue to pursue that trade and investment partnership that is based on mutual respect and mutual benefits. And this is what we agreed to with Ambassador Tai, the then U.S. Trade Representative. We obviously will not be in a position to condone or support America first and everybody else last. That is not a partnership that is within the spirit of the MOU that we have with the United States. We will pursue what is in Africa's best interests, not last interests, but best interests, as we seek a path forward in respect of AGOA, combined with some of the trade instruments that we have introduced, as well as the overall liberalization objective of the AFCFTA, I believe that we're well positioned as a continent to turn this crisis into an opportunity.
Stakeholders remain hopeful that the latest partnership with the National Bar Association at least will provide a platform for engaging dialogue on the legal and economic frameworks that support trade and investments across the African continent. Blaise Ogun's report for Joy News, Accra.
Former Member of Parliament for Dom Kwabinya, Sarah Adwoasafo, is expected to appear before the NPP's disciplinary committee today, nearly 3 weeks after she was first summoned. She was officially referred to the committee on March 20th, following what the party described as a breach of internal rules after her media appearance on Joy News' The Pulse. Now, in that interview, Adwoasafo made comments the party believes violated the directive barring members from discussing internal matters publicly, especially in ways that could spark unrest or disaffection within the party. Here are excerpts of a public outburst that landed her in that trouble.
I expected mothers to feel my pain. I expected fathers to feel my pain. And that is what happened. My son was at the verge of death. I had the choice to stay as a mother and take care of my son, or take up my position as a member of parliament and as a minister. Any mother looking and watching me today should put herself in my shoes. What choice would you have made? Of course, if you're not a witch, you're going to choose that of your child. You have degraded and insulted and uttered defamatory words against their founder, their leader, their mini God. We worship our Father in a church. We worship him like God. And it's a movement, it's a church, it's a family. You say all these things, and then you turn back. Why don't you tell them the truth? Ghanaians had a lot of expectations, and there was that, eagerness and that preparedness to meet that expectation of Ghanaians. But I think that moving into our second term, I would support exactly what Honorable Secretary Mensah-Bonsu was saying. It was as if we weren't hearing. It was as if we didn't care. It was as if we were on our jolly ride. Chiefs were complaining. Pastors were complaining. Party people were complaining. The youth. Everything that we were doing, it was as if there was no election ahead of us. Not that governance is about thinking about the next election. It's about governance. But you should know that your track record is what is going to secure you your next term.
Right.
So you have to listen. At the time, I think that at a point, we were not listening. You were giving ambassadorial. This guy won't stay there and work. You were giving CEO, free zones or board or free zones authority. He won't stay. Now you've been giving the work.
In a landmark crackdown on electricity meter theft, a Techiman Circuit Court has struck a blow against a crime surging across the region, sentencing a middle-aged man to 3 years imprisonment for stealing 6 meters in a case the Northern Electricity Distribution Company calls, quote, a warning to criminals. Now, as communities grapple with blackouts and safety risks, authorities say this verdict isn't just about justice. It's a critical step to keep the lights on. My colleague Anas Sabit has more in this report.
Electricity meter thefts are surging across the country, leaving homes in the dark and utilities scrambling. But today, a landmark court ruling here at the Techiman Circuit Court signals a turning point as the court convicted Boachi Yadamakosa to 3 years imprisonment with hard labor for stealing 6 electricity meters, a crime that's become an epidemic.
We had a call from the customer that his meters were removed. The meters were 6 in number. They were all prepaid meters. And thankfully, the community members were able to arrest the guy. So we asked them to take him to the police station, which they did. So we applaud them for being very vigilant on their premises. Or else, if they were not vigilant, they would have seen him. He would have gone with it, and it would have been a bad debt for NEDCo. So that was what happened. So when he was arrested and sent to the police station, they arrested him, they put him in the custody, and then he was prepared and then sent to court. Then he was convicted and sentenced to 3 years with hard labor.
Northern Electricity Distribution Company says these thefts disrupt power supply, endanger lives and costs millions. Ntilenye Belliman is the customer service officer here at the Techiman area NEDCo.
In fact, NEDCo is heavily affected in the sense that most of this meter theft, the power they consume, is not being accounted for. You know, the power that we deal with, NEDCo buys it. And if you buy and you come and sell, and a chunk of it is not accounted for, certainly it's a loss that is incurring on NEDCo. So that is how NEDCo is in terms of kilowatt and in terms of money. So NEDCo is heavily affected. That is why we want the public to be aware.
Authorities say increased surveillance led to these arrests. Meters are stolen, sold illegally, leaving entire neighborhoods powerless and NEDCo running at loss. Mr. Billiman told me that this case is just the beginning and a warning shot to people in this business.
We are standing on this and cautioning the general public and those miscreants who are fond of removing people's meters and selling to others that they can be caught at any time. You do it today, you are not caught, doesn't mean you are free. One day, your cup will be full.
NEDCo is, however, warning the general public to stay away from buying meters from suspicious characters, adding that these meters are strictly not for sale and their actions is an abatement to crime.
The citizens, the customers, the consumers alike should be on the watch out. Meters are not for sale. Whoever brings meter to you that is selling, draw the attention of the police or report to the nearest NEDCo office so that we can take action from that. And those who buy, they should also stop, because it means they are aiding and abetting, because now the message is out there that meters are not for sale. So whoever brings meter to you and is telling you is selling, once you buy, it means you are condoning with the wrongdoing. So when you are caught, the law will deal with you as such. So we are cautioning the public to desist from buying meters. Meters are strictly not for sale.
This sentence reflects the severity of the crime. Stealing meters isn't petty theft. It is sabotage of national development, and with this conviction, NEDCo hopes to turn the tide and end the recurring stories of meter thefts. Anna Sabit, Joy News, Techiman.
In other stories, in Nigeria, Secheduma say hope runs as dry as the cracked earth beneath farmers' feet. Here, desperate for water, smallholder farmers dig into the ground, sometimes with bare hands, praying to strike a mighty miracle. But even when they do, they must share it with livestock, risking their health for every drop. Joy News' Michael Ashali journeyed to this parched farming community and now reports on a crisis that can no longer be ignored.
As the sun sets over Amenemu, Yakubu leads his family on their daily walk to a stream bed. With hose in hand and hope in their hearts, they dig into the cracked earth, searching for water. The sound of metal striking the ground fills the air. But the effort yields nothing, just mud and despair. We have relied on this water source for years. During the dry season, it dries up completely, forcing us to dig with a hoe until water slowly seeps through. Even that, there is no guarantee. The water isn't just scarce, it's unsafe, tainted by grazing animals. The people, desperate for water, pay the price with their health. Both cattle and pigs come here to drink. But that's not even the worst part. Upstream, waste is dumped directly into the water, making it unsafe for us. Amenemu's water crisis is dire. More than 500 residents spread across scattered settlements rely on these polluted streams. Bawa Kunde is the assemblyman for the area.
The cattle, they will stand inside the water before they drink, so they pollute the water, they dump their feces in the water. One of the sicknesses that they normally complain about is typhoid fever. Typhoid fever is contaminated food with feces and other things.
Bauer has fought for help, but so far, his efforts have come up short.
I've done a lot about writing into people who can help us. I've done that, but yet we are not getting any response from them.
Today, Yakubu, Bauer and the people of Amenemu leave the dry stream bed behind for good. Thanks to Rotary International and their partners, Amenemu has a borehole and a future.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Randy Fiorini is a farmer from the USA.
What Rotary has done here is provide clean drinking water that will change the lives of generations for this village. And we want to repeat that over and over and again throughout Ghana. Our goal is to eliminate poor drinking water in Ghana.
Each borehole, valued at $9,500, comes with a simple ask, an oath to maintain them. To ensure this, a water management committee was established in the community. For years, Yakubu and his family dug in vain. Today, they simply pump. The water they prayed for has finally arrived. For Joy News, Michael Ashale.
Let's get into our business update now with Benjamin Akakbo.
Let's head into our business update now. And a team from the IMF is expected in town from today to help government restructure the current VAT system. This team is different from the current officials that are in Accra for Ghana's 4th review program. Now speaking at the Ghana Revenue Authority's management retreat, Director of Revenue Policy at the Finance Ministry, Daniel Noah, has said Ghana was committed to working with the fund to address the challenges with the VAT structure.
To these schema changes, it was also indicated that there will be major reforms to the VAT regime. This will include the eventual scrapping of the COVID-19 levy, the recoupling of National Health Insurance levy and Get Fund levy with VAT, and a restructuring of the threshold when it comes to small taxpayers. So these are some of the things in the budget. And as part of the reforms, there will be an IMF mission specifically on VAT, which will be coming in on Monday. And the minister requests that we give them all the support so that they can carry out their assessment and the assignment that they've been given. Continuing, it says, let me use this opportunity to charge the Commissioner General's team to ensure that these reforms are smoothly operationalized with engagements with relevant stakeholders and the general public. Transforming our tax regime is a journey which we have started. It is not a destination. It requires commitment and dedication, and I'm confident that together we can achieve this vision to impact and provide growth.
Well, that's it for our business update. Back to you, Sweetie Abochi.
Thank you, Ben, for serving us business updates. And that ends the AM News Bulletin on the show. The conversations begin now, starting with the news review. We'll be back in a bit. Please stay.